Welcome to the Warriors Haven podcast, the place where discipline meets purpose and everyday people become unstoppable. I'm your host, Jaisha Sutherland, a retired Army drill sergeant, single mom, and the founder of the Warriors Haven. Around here, we talk fitness, mindset, and the mission of building a stronger you, mentally, physically, and financially. Because this isn't just about the gym. It's about life, leadership, and living on your terms. So gear up, lock in, and let's step into the haven where warriors are made. Hi friend, welcome back to the Warriors Haven podcast. I'm your host, your favorite Drill Sergeant Jay, and today I'm going to challenge something you've probably believed your entire life. What if your body isn't fighting against you? What if every pound you've struggled to lose, every craving that seems impossible to ignore, every late night trip to the pantry, every failed diet, every time you've looked in the mirror and blamed yourself was never a lack of discipline? What if your body has been trying to save your life this entire time? Now, before you roll your eyes and think, here comes another person telling me it's hormones, stay with me, because that's not what we're going to do today. We're going somewhere much deeper. By the end of this episode, you'll understand why two people can eat the exact same meals, exercise the exact same amount, sleep the same number of hours, and one loses weight while the other doesn't. You'll understand why some people seem to gain weight during the most stressful seasons of their lives, even when they swear nothing's changed. And most importantly, you'll stop blaming yourself for biology you never understood. Because once you understand what's actually happening inside your body, everything changes. So let's get into it. When most people think about stress, they picture being overwhelmed. Deadlines, bills, traffic, an argument with their spouse, a screaming toddler, military transition, divorce, losing someone you love, running a business, trying to survive. But here's the problem. Your brain doesn't categorize stress the way you do. It doesn't care whether you're running from a predator or refreshing your bank account every 10 minutes because you're worried about money. To your brain, stress is simply one question. Am I safe? If the answer is, I don't know, your body begins changing, not emotionally, biologically. Thousands, and I mean thousands, of microscopic decisions begin happening every second without your permission. You don't choose them, your body does. One of the scientists who changed how the world understands stress is neuroscientist Robert Spolowski at Stanford University. After spending decades studying both humans and wild baboons, Spolowski discovered something fascinating. Animals experience intense stress, but it usually ends. A zebra escapes the lion, and 20 minutes later, it's back grazing in the field. Its heart rate returns to normal. Its hormones settle down. Its body recovers. Humans, we're different. We can relive yesterday's argument, worry about tomorrow's bills, feel something that hasn't happened yet, and mentally replay every mistake we've ever made. Our brains can create a stress response without a single physical threat in front of us. Think about that. Your imagination can activate survival biology. That's incredible. And it's also dangerous when it never turns off. This brings us to one of the most important concepts almost nobody talks about. It's called Allostatic load. The term was developed by neuroscientist Bruce McEwen, whose research transformed over our understanding of chronic stress. Imagine carrying a backpack. One book inside, it doesn't feel heavy. Neither do 2 or 5. But imagine adding another book every single day for years. Eventually, the backpack becomes unbearable, not because of one book, because of the accumulated weight. That's what chronic stress does to the body. One difficult conversation won't make you unhealthy. One sleepless night won't ruin your metabolism. One rough week won't make you gain 20 pounds. But years of carrying emotional weight, financial stress, relationship conflict, poor sleep, processed foods, constant notifications, overworking, and never truly recovering create something scientists call allostatic load, the cumulative wear and tear on your body's systems. Your body wasn't designed to live in a constant state of emergency, yet many people do. Here's where things get fascinating. Most people think stress causes weight gain because of one hormone, cortisol. And while cortisol certainly plays a role, that's only one piece of a much bigger story. The real story is about energy. Your brain is the most expensive organ in your body. Although it makes up only about 2% of your body weight, it uses roughly 20% of your body's energy at rest. Think about that. One tiny organ consuming 1/5 of your daily energy. Your brain is constantly asking, do we have enough fuel to survive? If the answer feels uncertain, it doesn't tell your body to burn more energy. It tells your body to conserve it. That response made perfect sense throughout human history. If food became scarce, conserving energy increased your chances of survival. The problem is that your biology still uses that ancient survival system, even though today's threats are usually psychological rather than physical. Researchers have also found something surprising about visceral fat. This isn't the fat you can pinch just under your skin. Visceral fat surrounds organs deep inside the abdomen. Studies have constantly shown that chronic stress is associated with greater accumulation of visceral fat, even after accounting for total body weight and lifestyle factors. Why would your body store fat around vital organs? Because, from an evolutionary perspective, keeping energy reserves close to the organs that keep you alive may have offered a survival advantage during prolonged periods of stress or food scarcity. Your body isn't trying to make you unhealthy. It's trying to make sure your most important systems have access to stored energy if conditions become uncertain. The challenge is that in today's world, chronic psychological stress can keep those same storage signals active for far longer than they were ever meant to be. Then there's something else that's beginning to happen. And almost nobody talks about it. Your body quietly starts changing how much you move. Not because you're lazy, because your brain is trying to conserve energy. We'll explore that and the surprising role of inflammation, the gut, and your mitochondria in part 2, because the story is about to get even more fascinating. Hey, it's your favorite Drill Sergeant Jay. Can I tell you something? If you're trying to lose weight, have more energy, or simply feel like yourself again, don't overlook one of the most powerful tools you have: your sleep. Your body repairs itself, balances hormones, and restores your brain while you sleep. That's why I'm excited to share with you this company, Naturepedic. They create certified organic mattresses and bedding designed to help you build a healthier sleep environment. Because recovery isn't a luxury, it's part of the mission. Visit Naturepedic and invest in the place where your health begins, your bed. All right, now let's get back to today's episode. Before the break, I told you something that probably challenged what you believed for years. Your body isn't trying to betray you. It's trying to protect you. Now, let's go even deeper, because what I'm about to tell you completely changed the way I look at stress, not just mentally, but biologically. All right, follow me for this one. Imagine you own the most advanced military base ever built. Inside that base are thousands of soldiers, electricians, engineers, mechanics, communication specialists, medical teams, the absolute best supply team. Everyone has a job. Now, imagine that base receives intelligence saying an enemy attack might happen. What's the first thing the commander does? He doesn't start building a basketball court. He doesn't repaint the buildings. He reallocates resources towards survival. Security goes up, construction slows down, maintenance gets delayed, training changes. Everything shifts towards staying alive. Your body does the exact same thing. When your brain senses chronic stress, it starts reallocating resources. Growth, delayed. Recovery, delayed. Fat burning, not the priority. Survival becomes the mission. Here's something almost nobody talks about. Stress changes your immune system. For decades, scientists thought stress simply weakened immunity. Today, we know it's more complicated. Researchers have found that chronic stress can leave the immune system in a persistent, low-grade inflammatory state. Instead of switching on briefly and then calming down, the system can stay partially activated for long periods. That constant background inflammation affects far more than your ability to fight infection. It influences your appetite, your energy, your insulin sensitivity, and even how your brain communicates with the rest of your body. One of the leaders in this field, neuroscientist Bruce McEwen, showed that chronic stress doesn't just affect your mind. It reshapes how multiple body systems work together over time. It's like leaving the engine of your truck idling 24 hours a day. Eventually, parts begin wearing out faster. Now, here's where it gets even more fascinating. Let's talk about your gut. Most people think digestion starts and ends in the stomach. It doesn't. Inside your intestines live trillions of bacteria. Scientists call this your microbiome. These tiny organisms help digest food, produce certain vitamins, influence immune function, and even communicate with the brain through what researchers call the gut-brain axis. Yes, your gut and your brain are constantly talking to each other. Researchers, including Dr. Emerin Mayer, have spent years studying this communication network. When stress becomes chronic, it can change the composition of the gut microbiome, alter the intestinal barrier, and affects signals involved in hunger, satiety, and inflammation. Think about that. Stress isn't only changing your thoughts, it may also be changing the ecosystem living inside you. And that ecosystem influences how efficiently your body processes nutrients and how your brain perceives hunger. Now, let me blow your mind. Have you ever noticed that when life gets stressful, healthy food suddenly doesn't sound exciting anymore? Nobody says, you know what sounds amazing after a horrible day? A bowl of steamed broccoli. No. You want chips, cookies, pizza, ice cream. Why? Because your brain is searching for quick, energy-dense foods. Researchers have found that stress can shift food preferences toward highly palatable foods rich in sugar and fat. These foods activate reward pathways in the brain, providing temporary relief from emotional distress, but they don't resolve the underlying stress. That's not because you're weak. It's because your survival brain is looking for fast, reliable energy. Thousands of years ago, that response increased the odds of survival. Today, it can leave us reaching for foods that are easy to overconsume. Let's talk about your body's power plants. Every cell in your body contains tiny structures called mitochondria. If you've listened to previous episodes, you know these are responsible for producing much of the energy your cells use. But here's something many people don't realize. Researchers like Dr. Martin Pickard have shown that the relationship goes both ways. Mitochondria help shape the body's response to stress, and chronic stress can alter how efficiently mitochondria function. In other words, stress doesn't just make you feel tired. Over time, it may reduce how effectively your cells produce energy. Imagine trying to charge your phone with a damaged charging cable. Eventually, it charges, just much slower. That's how many people are living. They aren't broken. They're operating on an inefficient energy system. And here's something that shocked researchers. When people experience prolonged stress, many don't simply exercise less because they consciously decide to. They often reduce the countless tiny movements they normally make throughout the day. Standing, walking, fidgeting, taking the stairs, pacing while talking on the phone. Scientists call this non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or NEAT, N-E-A-T. Research from obesity scientist Dr. James Levine showed that differences in NEAT can account for hundreds of calories burned per day between individuals. Under chronic stress or fatigue, these small but almost unconscious movements have declined. Your brain quietly conserves energy, not because you're lazy, because it believes resources should be protected. Again, your biology thinks it's helping you survive. Let's talk about your thyroid for a moment. The thyroid helps regulate metabolism by releasing hormones that influence how your body uses energy. Under prolonged stress, some research suggests that conversion of the storage hormone T4 into the more biologically active hormone T3 may become less efficient in certain people, especially alongside illness, inadequate nutrition, or chronic psychological stress. This doesn't happen to everyone, but it's not the whole story behind weight changes. It illustrates an important principle. Your body's systems don't work in isolation. When one system is under prolonged pressure, others can adapt. The body is always trying to maintain balance, even when those adaptations make fat loss feel harder. So let's pause for a second. Think about everything we've covered. Stress can influence inflammation. It can affect communication between your gut and brain. It can change food preferences. It can reduce spontaneous movement. It can affect cellular energy production. And it can alter how multiple hormonal systems coordinate. No wonder simply telling someone to eat less and move more often misses the bigger picture. Your body is an incredibly sophisticated survival system. The question isn't, why am I failing? The better question is, what is my body responding to? Because once you understand that, you stop fighting yourself and you start working with your biology instead of against it. Coming up in part 3, I'm going to show you why sleep loss changes your brain before it changes your waistline, how stress quietly steals your ability to make disciplined decisions, why your brain begins predicting failure before you even realize it, and most importantly, the science-backed strategies that can help break this cycle without relying on motivation. Because once you understand how your brain predicts your future, you'll never look at discipline the same way. Hey, it's your favorite Drill Sergeant Jay. I hope you're getting massive value out of today's episode. If you are, hit subscribe right now and leave a quick review. It helps us reach more warriors ready to rebuild their identity. If you want to step up your discipline, join our school community, the Warriors Haven Inner Circle. That's school.com, SKOOL.com. Find the Warriors Haven Inner Circle. Plus, my new book is coming out towards the end of this year. It's built for people who are tired of relying on motivation and ready to rebuild their life through discipline, science, and purpose. The links are in the show notes. Now, let's finish strong. We've talked about stress changing your immune system, your gut, your mitochondria, your hormones, your energy. But now we're going to talk about something that surprised me more than anything else I found while researching this episode. Stress doesn't just change your body, it changes how your brain predicts your future. Let me explain. Imagine you've walked through the woods 1,000 times, every day, same trail. Then one afternoon, you almost step on a rattlesnake. You jump back. Your heart races. You survive. The next day, your brain remembers. Not because it wants to scare you, because it wants to protect you. Now, every stick looks like a snake. Every sound gets your attention. Your brain begins predicting danger before danger actually exists. That's how incredible survival system works. Now, apply that same principle to your daily life. Maybe you've tried 10 diets. Maybe you've lost weight, only to gain it back. Maybe you've promised yourself every Monday that this time is different. Your brain notices patterns. It starts predicting outcomes, not because it wants you to fail, because prediction is one of the brain's primary jobs. Neuroscientist Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett describes the brain as a prediction machine. Rather than simply reacting to events, it constantly uses past experiences to anticipate what will happen next and prepare the body accordingly. That's efficient. But it also means old experiences can influence present behavior. If your brain repeatedly associates stress with comfort eating or exhaustion with skipping workouts, those responses become increasingly automatic. Now, let's talk about sleep, because this might be the missing piece for many of you listening. Most people think sleep is simply about feeling rested. It's much bigger than that. Sleep is when your brain performs maintenance. It clears waste products, strengthens important memories, supports learning, regulates hormones involved in hunger and satiety. Research led by sleep scientist Dr. Matthew Walker has shown that even one night of restricted sleep can shift hormones related to appetite. Ghrelin, the hormone that stimulates hunger, tends to increase, while leptin, which signals and helps signal fullness, tends to decrease. In practical terms, you often feel hungrier and less satisfied after eating. Studies have also found that sleep restriction is associated with a stronger preference for calorie-dense foods. Think about that. After poor sleep, your body isn't just tired. It's nudging you towards foods that provide quick energy. Again, not because you're weak, because your body is trying to solve what it perceives as an energy shortage. Here's something else. Researchers have found that when people are sleep deprived, activity in the prefrontal cortex, the area involved in planning, impulse control, and long-term decision making, can become less effective. At the same time, brain regions involved in emotional responses and reward become more reactive. So after a rough night, you're asking the part of your brain responsible for self-control to perform at its best, while it's already operating below its usual capacity. It's a little like asking someone to drive across country with almost no fuel in the tank. Can it be done? Sometimes. Is it harder? Absolutely. This isn't an excuse, it's an explanation, and understanding the difference matters. Here's the biggest lesson I want you to take away today. Your body is not your enemy. Let me say that again. Your body is not your enemy. For years, maybe decades, you've looked in the mirror and thought, why won't my body cooperate? But what if your body has been asking a different question? What do I need to do to keep you alive? Every craving, every shift in energy, every night you struggled to sleep, every season where fat loss felt harder than before, your body wasn't punishing you. It was adapting. Sometimes those adaptations are helpful in the short term, but when stress never lets up, the same systems that once protected you can begin working against your long-term health. The answer isn't to hate your biology. It's to understand it. So what do we do now? You stop trying to fight your body and start sending it a different message. A message of safety, a message of recovery, a message that the emergency has passed. That starts with the basics. Protect your sleep as if it's part of your training. Move your body consistently. even if it's just a walk around the block. Eat in a way that supports stable energy instead of chasing perfection. Build moments of genuine recovery into your week. Talk to someone you trust when stress becomes overwhelming. And remember, progress isn't about eliminating stress. Life will always include stress. The goal is to become better at recovering from it. Recovery is where resilience is built. As a retired drill sergeant, people often assume discipline means pushing harder, doing more, grinding longer. But here's what the military taught me. The strongest units aren't the ones that never face adversity. They're the ones that recover well enough to be ready for the next mission. Your body works the same way. You don't become stronger during the workout. You become stronger during the recovery. The same principle applies to your brain. The same principle applies to your life. So here's the challenge I want to leave you with this week. Stop asking, why can't I lose weight? Instead ask, what is my body trying to tell me? Because that question changes everything. Maybe your body isn't asking for more willpower. Maybe it's asking for more sleep. Maybe it's asking for less chaos. Maybe it's asking for movement instead of punishment. Maybe it's asking for connection instead of isolation. Maybe it's asking you to finally stop treating yourself like the enemy. At the Warriors Haven, we don't believe discipline means ignoring your biology. We believe discipline means understanding it, working with it, respecting it, because when science and discipline come together, people change, not just physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and eventually they rebuild their identity, because that's what this podcast has always been about. Not just losing weight, not just gaining muscle, but becoming the kind of person who no longer needs to be rescued. The kind of person who understands that lasting transformation doesn't begin in the mirror. It begins in the mind. I'm your favorite Drill Sergeant Jay. This is the Warriors Haven podcast. Until next time, stay disciplined, stay resilient, and remember, the strongest warrior isn't the one who never feels stress. It's the one who learns how to recover, adapt, and keep moving forward. I'll see you in the next episode, so stay strong, stay focused, stay ready. Hi, friend. Thanks for tuning in to the Warriors Haven podcast, where we turn discipline into freedom and help you build the body, mindset, and lifestyle you deserve. If today's episode fired you up or gave you just that little push you needed, don't stop here. Head on over to TheWarriorsHaven.com, where you'll find details on how to jumpstart the next version of you. Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about showing up for yourself every single day. So until next time, stay strong, stay focused, and stay ready. I'm Jaisha Sutherland, and you're listening to the Warriors Haven podcast.